everyone, it's Donna here from Donna's Vintage Cottage, back again to show you what I found this weekend at the antique fair. To give you an idea of the size of this thing, for those of you that aren't from Central Florida, if you've ever watched the show Flea Market Flip, you know that big flea market in Broomfield, Connecticut that they go to, Elephant's Trunk I think was the name of it. It's like that, but probably 10 times bigger. This is a map of the thing, and just this little area here is 16 vendors. So you can tell how many there were there. And it was all outside, well, most of it is outside, up and down hills. I'm telling you, my body is paying for it right now, but it was a lot of fun. I'm going to start with the paper things, and then I'll probably have to put on pause and get the fabric stuff. But there's two sides to this thing. There's the Antique Extravaganza, which was the main event this weekend, and we went to that on Friday all day. And then the next day, the other half of this place is a flea market, and that part was free. And we went to that on Saturday. And I can tell you, I found more at the flea market than I did at the Antique Extravaganza. Well, there was a lot to be had at the Extravaganza, don't get me wrong, but there's mostly prices that I wasn't willing to pay. But let me show you, and I can't tell you which of these things I'm going to show came from which side, but I got this bag of vintage postcards, all different ones with a lot of florals, and there's some photos and some ladies and some that, you know, are kind of beat up. But I got a whole bag of postcards. Like I need any more postcards. I already bought a whole shoebox full of postcards at the auction several months ago, but I can't pass up an old postcard. And then this little souvenir booklet, probably from the maybe 40s, 30s or 40s even, and these are all from France. These are great to put in little tuck spots in journals, so I was happy to find that. I got these 3 little needle packets, vintage needle books, and they have still have the needles in them and the fabric, so those were great. Clinton, Quality Notions, Colonial, Window Pack. So got those. I got a whole bag of S&H green stamp booklets. There's 2 different sizes. There's this smaller size, and to varying degree of completeness, and then a larger size with a varying degree of completeness. So I will be sharing these. There's no way I can use all of that. It's a whole bag of them. There's probably maybe 40 of them in here at least. I got a piano roll. I've never used. I've seen people use these in journals. I think I paid $1.25 for this one, so okay, I gotta try it. I wonder if this irons out, because it's obviously very curly. So I got a piano roll, some books. This one is a clock almanac from 1905. And the best part of this little book is all the advertising inside. There's lots of medical type advertising. Dr. King's tonic blood pills. Cures all diseases arising from a poor, watery condition of the blood. Okay. Skin ointment. Headache. Thompson's burdock pills for purifying the foulest blood. and removing every disease of the stomach, liver, and kidneys. Boy, that's some potent stuff. It's really interesting to read all of these old quack cure-all potions and everything. So that was a great find. And this is just a book, probably from the 50s maybe, on 8 fascinating games for 20 guests. I figured this would be kind of fun for putting in a journal. Just some ephemera. This one I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to use, but it was only 50 cents, so I had to try it. It's a whole pad of double discount trading stamps. D&D double discount stamps, but they're all kind of stuck together. So if anybody has any suggestions on how I can get these apart, I'm thinking maybe trying to steam them apart, because I know if I try to pull them, I'm going to rip them all. But for 50 cents, it was worth a try. And then I got a couple of pads of old, it's just writing paper, but it's old. It already has that aged look on it, and it's from the 1946, 46 and 47. Even though just the cover of it was really cool. So I got 2 of those. I got some little golden books. I got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of them. Tootle, Busy Timmy, Bugs Bunny, Heidi, Scuffy the Tugboat, Baby Farm Animals. That one is adorable. And then Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I remember that from when I was a kid. So little golden books. This is a series of self-help kind of books from 1959 and 1960. How to get information fast, how to say a few words effectively, how to remember names and faces. And what I liked about it is they have some really neat graphics in them. You know, neat pictures, but each one in the middle has all of these, they're perforated cards, kind of like flashcards. So I'm going to take those apart, and those are going to go into tuck spots and journals. Very, very interesting. So I got that whole box. And here's the big ticket item. This actually contains stuff I bought from 2 different vendors, 2 different sellers at the fair. The first part of this is all Civil War era. Envelopes. There's, it's kind of envelopes, and there's some letters in here. This little cutout from a newspaper was interesting. Apparently, during the Civil War, families found out about how their loved ones were doing from posts in the newspaper, because it has names, Company B, and what whatever was wrong with that person, rheumatism. The name Company C, wounded below the knee joint, doing well. Name, the person's name, Company D, gunshot wound is cut off, face, doing well. Previously reported dead. It's like, oh my God, that's not one thing you'd want to get wrong. Gunshot wound of the foot, doing well. Very interesting. And then on the back side of it, there's a cheap property for sale. And it describes it as and it says for sale, very cheap, apply to, and it gives the name. So this one is very faded, but there's a letter there from the Civil War era. This one has some really pretty script handwriting. It's quite faded, but this one has some really pretty script writing. And then this one's got gorgeous script writing. I'm going to scan that one. I'm going to scan some of these things. This is a whole bunch of waybills from Central Vermont Railroad. There's probably about 8 or 9 of those in there. And then towards the back was from a different vendor. These are all, it was all letterhead of different companies, and either receipts or bill of sales. Lee and Lackahanna Coal. And they're all, everything in this book is, the beginning of the book was, the earliest document I saw was 1940 something up through, this back part is 1870s and 80s. All receipts. So I'm going to scan some of that. This is what I paid the absolute most for, obviously. And then the last of the paper items, I have a whole stack of the Farm Journal from 1902. Yeah, 1902, all 12 editions of it. They were bound together with some string, and these again are the best thing about them, were all the vintage advertising. Just so really cool to read all these, to see all these advertising and read what life was like in 1902, what you could buy and what it was worth. So I will be sharing some of this as well. I just have to figure out how I'm going to do it. Well, let's see. I think I can just go ahead and get... Now for the linen part, I just got a whole box full of really cool fabric pieces. This was from someone who was a quilter. Her and her mother were a quilter, and they were selling their fabrics. I just liked all the pretty fabrics that were in here, and they all have fairly small print on them, which is perfect for a junk journal, all different colors. And that one's pretty. That one's got butterflies. That one's very fall. So a box of fabric, small pieces of fabric. And at another place, oops, I guess there, I got these quilt pieces. Oh, it's backside. I think there's 7 of them in here. So these will be nice on, they're just pieces that we're going to go into a quilt. They're not backed or anything. There's that one, this one. I love the colors in this one. All the same pattern, different fabrics. So these eventually, someday, are going to go into the covers of some journals. And at another booth, we had these really cool fabric pieces from the 70s. But look at the really funky patterns on these. I loved them. I just had to get a few of them. Very pretty. I love this one. I love the colors. It's got butterflies in it. And they're pretty good sized pieces. And then this one here. Those were $1 a piece. I got these on the flea market side. And then a box full of vintage laces. Like, I need any more vintage laces, but I couldn't pass it up. I just couldn't. There's some really, really pretty laces in here. And I got them for a good price. I got these on the flea market side. I found more on the flea market side than I did on the place I had to pay to get into. There's some pretty Battenberg in here, and some net lace kind of doilies. They're all wrapped in plastic, so they're all well taken care of. There's some vintage lace. Just a whole box of, this one is plastic lace. Some, eyelet lace, just a whole nice variety of laces. This one has ribbon going through it. Here's some filet lace, very pretty. So these, along with some of my other vintage laces and trims, I will be sharing those again. I've done some in the past and obviously accumulating more. This is a whole box of, this one says $1 each or all for $5. Like, do you even have to think about that? You know? It's like, okay, I'll take it. And if I remember correctly, I asked him if he would take 4, and he said yes. It's like, okay. Got some embroidered doilies in here, some really pretty hankies, embroidered hankies. Lots of doilies. There's a whole bunch of the same one in here. These would be great for sewing on the paper on it and using it as a page in a journal, like I've done. Just all kinds. Here's a filet runner. These are really pretty. Look at that. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, and a big one that matches it. Just all kinds. Really cool stuff. Some crochet, some linen. So that was for $4 for that whole box. And then lastly, I couldn't pass up a tin of buttons. Just, these are really old, and I saw these really big mother of pearl ones. They're very dirty. I need to wash them. But there's a whole bunch of them in here. Really big mother of pearl buttons. I saw those and I had to get it. And there's some other really cool old wooden and metal buttons in here too. I think I paid $4 for this tin. So that's what I found. Oh no, there's one more thing. Oh, I gotta show you this. Hold on. I can't reach it from where I'm at. This honkin' book. This I will be sharing pages of. Look how thick it is. And it is from, I looked it up, it was produced from 1931 to 1954, and it's Perpetual Troubleshooter's Manual. And this is troubleshooting for radios. And it has instructions on every radio that was in production during the printing of this manual. And I just love all the mechanical drawings in it. And it's already that vintage look. The pages are a nice weight. I actually started playing with this, making some tags. I just took one of the pages out, folded it in half, glued it together, stitched, put some copy dyed paper on the back side of an image on the front, and boom, you've got a tag. So it already makes a good background for anything you want to put onto a tag. So this has 800 pages, so I will be sharing pages from this as well. If anybody's interested in pages from this, let me know. I don't know when I'll get to putting together packets, but I mean, it's just really, really, really cool. There's some advertising in here too. All kinds of diagrams. I loved it. I had to have it. It was a good thing my girlfriend thought to bring. She had one of those folding carts that's like canvas. Thank goodness she thought to bring that, because we were, especially at the end of that second day, we were lugging around. This thing probably weighs 10 pounds by itself. Lugging that thing around up and down hills, and the cart really made it easy. But that was my findings for today. I will eventually be sharing some of these things, maybe in kind of bundles, or I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I can't hang on to all of this. But we were lucky, and that's all I have for today. Bye for now.